Hi everybody, this is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 88. This is a review lesson. Let's begin by setting up the table. You'll need your top 160 sight word list, and if your student has finished all those words, you can move on to the 290 sight word list, which you can find at the flyingcatacademy.com website. Under the guided lessons section, there'll be two sub-tabs, and you want the one called Extra Resources. You'll need the teacher instruction sheet for sight words and the student sight word card pack, some blank cards, a highlighter, markers, and some pencils. For the phonemic awareness drill, you'll need the teacher instruction sheet and the colored tiles for the student. For the visual drill and auditory drill, you'll need the teacher instruction sheets and the student's card pack. Today we'll be doing a blending drill, and you'll have to have this one set up on the table. I like to have the main word that the student is working on, H-A-U-L, that's the first word, and then I have the ones kind of in the wings ready to go that I can pull down really quickly for the coming words. For the magnetic letter tile drill for reading and spelling, you'll need the teacher instruction sheets and the cookie sheet with the letters spread in a rainbow shape. For the syllable pounding, you'll need the instruction sheet and the new phoneme grapheme kinesthetic discovery sheet and the sheets for the lesson. In addition, we'll have the sort that we used in the previous lesson, in lesson 87. This is the AU-AW card sort, and we'll be using that in a little different way today. But you'll have it just set up on the table like you did in the last lesson. And then you might have a timer on the table. And you'll need this if you've introduced a fluency element to the lesson, which you really should do. And this is so the student can learn to read with speed as well as accuracy and with a natural expression. You'll need a secondary program such as Read Naturally or the 6-minute reading solution to do this. Let's do the sight word study method. Student, could you take out your card pack of sight words? I'd like you to read through each of your cards. When you read a word correctly, you'll put a check mark in the corner of the card. When you're finished with all the cards, you'll hand the card back to your teacher, and then it's your teacher's turn to read. Your teacher reads through each card, and you will write down each word. When you write a word correctly, in the other corner of the card, you'll put a check mark. When you're finished, you and your teacher can have a quick discussion about which of those words has been mastered. Any mastered words will be removed from the card pack. This leaves space so that if there's time, you can introduce a new sight word. It's time for the phonemic awareness drill. Student, can you take out your colored tiles for this one? Your word is see. Can you repeat that? I might say, I will see you at dinner. Okay, I would like you to build the word see with your colored tiles. Okay, once you've done it, tap it and say it. Do you have two tiles down, and are they two different colors? If you do, that's right. Now find the E in C. Can you touch that E tile? I'd like you to change the E into an ah. Can you say that sound? Okay, make the change now and then tap it and say it. What's your new word? Did you say saw? I saw you at the beach. If you did, that's right. Find the S in saw. Change the S into a O. Now tap it, say it. Did you get law? A lawyer studies law. If you did, that's right. Now touch the ah in law. I'd like you to change the ah into an O. Can you say that sound? O. Now tap it and say it. Did you get low? I bent down very, very low. If you did, that's right. Let's add a new tile at the end. We're going to call it Can you repeat that sound? Now tap it and say it, the whole word. Did you get loan? When I borrow money from the bank, they call it a loan. Okay. Let's say that that's good enough for today, so you can put your tiles away. Now we're going to do the visual drill. You'll need your card pack for this one. What sound does this one make? Did you say ah? If you did, that's right. If you have trouble remembering that, it is the same sound as the short sound of this guy, of the letter O. Remember olive? And another way to remember is we say, "Aw, shucks." Okay, teacher, do about 6 to 8 flashcards and then come back to me. Now let's do the auditory drill, and we'll use the same card pack that we used in the visual drill. Student, your sound is aw. Can you repeat that sound? Now, how many graphemes do you know for aw? How many symbols do you know to write down? Write them down, and as you're writing them, say aw, and then when you're finished, underline them and say aw again. And then we'll check your work. We have just started learning about vowel diphthongs, times where two vowels go walking and make an unexpected sound. So, did you get this one? AU can make aw. And AW can make aw. And when we did closed syllables, we learned that O can make aw. Olive. That's right. Okay, teacher, do about 6 to 8 flashcards in this way. It's time for the blending drill. If your teacher has this one on the table, then that's terrific. And if not, then you can just follow along in the video because I'll provide it here. Either way, you're going to tap it and then read the whole word. And then the teacher changes one card and a new word appears and you tap it and say it. And the goal is you want this to move along at a nice brisk pace. Now let's do some syllable pounding. Student, your word is awesome. Can you repeat that word? You are an awesome student. I'm wondering, how many syllables are there in the word awesome? To count them, you can either put your hand under your chin and say awesome, or you could stretch out your arm and tap your arm and shoot out your fingers for each syllable. Awesome, and then count up your fingers. So I hear 2 in awesome. How about this one? Aw. How many? I just hear 1 in that word. I hear the aw sound, which is the first diphthong that we worked on. And it's also the short O sound, isn't it? How about this one? Carefully. How many? Pound it out. Well, let's see. Carefully. There's 3 in that one. How about this one? Faultless. If you are perfect, you are faultless. No one is faultless. I hear 2 in that one. Okay, what I'd like you to do is take out your syllable scooping worksheet. And teacher, you've got the answer key there. Student, I'd like you to talk out your work as you're working through the sheet. So discuss your thinking. Now it's time to practice adding suffixes to different types of bases of different syllable types. To do this, we have 2 worksheets that are provided. They are broken up into charts according to the different syllable types. And you can choose whether you want to make a word sum of a real word or a nonsense word. It doesn't really matter because the rules are going to apply whether they're real words or nonsense words. The goal here is, let's say that you were in the open syllable section of the chart. We figure out the word try, and we say, what type of syllable is this one? There's one vowel. The vowel's at the end. The vowel's long. That's an open syllable. So then, ding, 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 we know there's a great rule that's going to come in because I want to add the suffix. I want to put it in the past and turn try into tried. And I see that the great rule of Y is going to come in. So I change the Y to an I and add the ending. The only time that wouldn't be true, I mean, sometimes in this open syllable, remember how we have to create brand new words for things? But there is another case, and that would be if we had try, nice open syllable, and I want to add ing, that's my suffix. If I change the Y to an I, something terrible would happen. I would break English because I would end up with two I's, and that is not allowed. So in the open syllable, if you want to add ing, you don't change the Y to the I. You just simply slam on ing. Okay, you can work through that sheet, and teacher, you've got an eye on the time, so you'll know how many words can get completed. In the last lesson, we introduced a brand new syllable type. It was called the vowel diphthong. Can you say that again? Vowel diphthong. And let's start off with what we know, which is we know everything there is to know about vowel teams. When we have a vowel team, then everything is predictable. It's very reliable. And we know exactly what the team is going to sound like. We have a little sentence that helps us to remember this. Student, can you tell your teacher when two vowels? Here it is. When two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. So what is this word? O. The O says its name, and the W is just sitting there silently. Okay. Now we've got the new vowel diphthong syllable type. And this is different because this is where two vowels go walking and make a brand new sound. So it works in a different way. They look like they'd be a vowel team, don't they? Because there's two vowels side by side. But that's not what's happening here. This is a vowel diphthong, not a vowel team. So let's say that together. Two vowels go walking and make a brand new sound. And in this case, AW makes the sound. Well, do you remember we learned this one in the last lesson? This one says aw, like aw shucks. And we also learned that AU can make the same thing, aw. We're going to review AW and AU by using the same drill that we used in lesson 87. And so your teacher has this one ready to go on the table, and you'll see that there are headings. There are AU headings for if AU is at the beginning or the middle, and then AW, is it at the beginning, the middle, or the end? And then there's a lot of cards that have words on them. You're going to tap and say each card, and then you're going to place it where it goes. So if that word is hawk, AW is in the middle, so I'm going to put it under AW in the middle under that heading. I'm just going to work through them, and I'm going to do that for all the words. Once I'm finished putting them all down, then I'm going to begin looking for patterns among the words. So I know that AWN is a really common pattern, so I'm going to group those cards together. Once I'm finished grouping the cards, then the final step is you're going to take out the chart that I provided in this lesson, and you're going to write down the words on the chart. I like to have the student underline the patterns, so AWN would be a great pattern to underline in the words, or AUL is also a great pattern to underline. Once you finish that, come back to me. Now let's do the magnetic letter tile drill for reading. Student, you're going to need your magnetic letter tiles spread in a rainbow shape for this one. Can you say F? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say aw? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say n? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap and say the word. Think about any spelling changes that have to get made. Look for the patterns. Did you spell this one F-A-W-N? If you did, that's right. And the word is fawn. A fawn is a baby deer. And that A-W-N is a really common pattern. Okay, put those ones back, put all those tiles back, and let's get ready for a new word. Can you say S? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say aw? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap it, say it. Did you say this word is saw? I saw you there. If you did, that's right. And we know we're going to spell this S-A-W because when we hear the aw sound at the end of the word, we use A-W. Okay, teacher, if you have time, you can do more words in this way. And if not, then you can move on to the single word sheet, have the student read through that sheet, and then the short story. And then you'll introduce the fluency element if you've got that in the lesson. Now let's do the magnetic letter tile drill for spelling. You'll need the cookie sheet with the letters spread in a rainbow shape for this one. Student, your word is fault. Can you repeat that word? A lamp got broken and both kids said, "It's not my fault." All right, what's the first sound that you hear in fault? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in fault? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in fault? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the last sound that you hear in fault? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now look for patterns in the word and think about your spellings. And tap it and say it. Okay. Did you spell fault F-A-U-L-T? If you did, that's right. That A-U-L pattern is common. It happens in vault, fault, hall. Yeah. Okay, teacher, if there... Actually, I'll do one more word with you. So put those tiles back and let's try a new one. Your word is flaw. Can you repeat that word? I might say, there was a flaw in the shirt. It had a little hole in it. What's the first sound that you hear in flaw? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in flaw? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the last sound that you hear in flaw? Find the correct tile or tiles and pull them to the middle. Now tap it and say it. Did you spell this one F-L-A-W? If you did, that's right. That ah sound, when we hear it at the end of a word, we know we're going to write A-W. Okay, teacher, if you have time, you can do more words in this way. And if not, then student, you'll grab a lined piece of paper right now and a pencil, and we're going to write some single words. Your word is raw. Can you repeat that word? Before you cook the meat, it is raw. Tap it out and say the sounds that you hear. Say the whole word and write it down. Did you spell this one R-A-W? If you did, that's right. Ah at the end of the word is going to be A-W. Okay, try this one. Straw. Tap it, say it, write it down. Did you spell this one S-T-R-A-W? If you did, that's right. And try this one. Dawn. Can you repeat that word? I might say the sun rose at dawn. Okay, tap it, say it, write it down. And you're going to have to think about the pattern here. It's a common pattern. Did you spell this one A-W-N? On is that pattern. Yes, that's how you spell it. Okay, teacher, there are 3 sentences that you'll read to the student, and the student can choose the 2 that will be written down. Student, after you write a sentence, remember to check your work with chops. We've been talking about vowel diphthongs. And here's an example of a vowel diphthong, the A-W. Student, can you tell your teacher what is the definition of a vowel diphthong? When two vowels? Did you say when two vowels go walking and make a brand new sound? They're not making the A sound, they're not making the W sound, they're making something completely different. And in this case, it's aw, that short O sound. How unexpected is that? I'd say very. So if we put this together, can you tap and say that word? That word is law. And what is the thing that we want to remember about this? It's that AW, when it's at the end, that's where, so if you hear this aw sound at the end of a word, you're going to use AW. And there's another symbol that can be used in the grapheme for aw. Do you remember what it is? We have AW and AU is the other pattern. And there are, sometimes you have to use AW because that's if it comes at the end of the word. And then there's just some patterns that can help us. So common pattern is AWN. So that word is lawn. And another common pattern is AUL. And that happens in vault, fault, hall. Yeah, well, great job today. This is the end of lesson 88. This is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy.